AITA for filing for divorce after she said, "Tomorrow," for 30 days, and I replied, "Tomorrow." In Emily's dictionary, the word tomorrow wasn't a unit of time. It was a weapon of control. For 30 days, Mike heard this promise every time he tried to solve a problem, demand respect, or simply have a real conversation. She thought his silence was acceptance and that his patience was infinite. What she didn't realize is that while she was using tomorrow to run away from responsibilities, Mike was using today to organize his own exit. On the 31st day, the bill came due, the papers were served, and Emily's tomorrow finally turned into never again. Prepare to see what happens when a calm man decides he will no longer be the plan B for someone to whom he should be the priority. I was scrubbing a pan in the kitchen, the smell of last night's tacos still in the air, when Emily's voice cut through the silence like a dull knife. "Mike, you left the trash overflowing again," she said, without taking her eyes off her phone, her fingers tapping rapidly on the screen. She was slouching on a stool at the counter in her yoga leggings and an oversized hoodie, her tone sharp but casual, as if she were commenting on the weather. The trash was maybe half a bag full, far from overflowing. I put down the pan, dried my hands on a towel, and leaned against the counter, facing her. "Huh? It's Thursday. Pickup is tomorrow. It's not even full. You want me to take it out now? Just say so." My voice was calm, but I let a bit of firmness slip through, signaling that I wasn't in the mood for her little games. She didn't look up. "It's not about when it's collected, Mike. It's about you not doing your part." Her words were short, rehearsed, as if she had been waiting to drop that line. Another test, another poke to see if I would jump. I raised an eyebrow, keeping my tone light but direct. "Not doing my part, huh? I made dinner. I mowed the lawn and paid the cable bill this week. If a half-empty trash bag is your limit, come on. What is the real problem?" I crossed my arms, staring at her, challenging her to say something real. Her eyes flicked up and she gave me that crooked smile, the one that screamed she was already 3 moves ahead in her head. "Don't turn this into a problem, Mike. Just take out the trash. It's not rocket science." Her voice was sweet, but it had that condescending tone, as if she were talking to a child who forgot his lines. I smiled sarcastically, not yielding. "You didn't ask. You threw a barb. If there's a problem, say it. I'm not your errand boy, and I'm not going to keep guessing what's wrong." My tone was steady, but there was a bite to it, a silent warning that I saw through her act. She sighed loudly and dramatically, as if I were the culprit making her morning difficult. "You are so sensitive. It's just trash, Mike. Forget it, we'll solve it tomorrow." She waved her hand, dismissing me, her eyes back on her phone, as if the conversation had ended. There it was, tomorrow. Her favorite excuse, her emergency exit. I wasn't going to let it pass. "No, we are resolving it now. You want to talk about doing your part? Let's weigh it out, then. I'm working overtime, keeping this house running while you take care of your Instagram. If you're keeping score, let's look at the scoreboard." My voice was calm, but sharp as a blade cutting through her deflection. Her fingers froze on the screen, and she looked up, her jaw tense. "You are unbelievable. I do a lot around here, Mike. You just don't notice." Her tone was defensive, but there was a hesitation, as if she knew she was on shaky ground. I laughed, short and dry. "A lot like what, huh? Scrolling the screen, looking for smoothie recipes, planning your next girl's night? Name one thing you did this week that wasn't for you." I kept my eyes on her, my voice steady, letting her feel the weight of her own words. She opened her mouth, then her face closed up, blushing. "You're an idiot," she grumbled, grabbing her phone and leaving the kitchen like a hurricane. I didn't follow. I took out the trash, tied the bag, and threw it in the bin outside. If she wants to play queen, she is ruling an empty throne. That night, I arrived home late from the logistics company where I work. It's not a glamorous job. Coordinating shipments, fixing snags in the supply chain, dealing with drivers who miss deadlines, but I'm very good at it, and it pays for the house, the cars, and Emily's endless Amazon orders. I had worked overtime to cover for a guy on paternity leave, and she knew it. That didn't stop her from sending me a text at 4 p.m. "You're late again. Dinner is cold." I didn't reply. Fights over text are for losers, and I wasn't playing. When I walked in, the house was dark, except for the flickering light of the TV. Emily was stretched out on the sofa, wrapped in a blanket, scrolling on her phone. Some reality show about rich women fighting over designer bags echoed in the background. No sign of dinner, cold or otherwise. "Hey," I said, tossing my keys on the counter. "What's up with that cold dinner message? You didn't cook." My voice was casual, but I wasn't going to let it slide. She didn't look up. "I was going to, but you weren't here, so I didn't even bother. We'll eat tomorrow." Her tone was monotone, but there was a barb, as if she were daring me to argue. I leaned against the doorframe, letting out a low laugh. "So, you're mad because I didn't eat food that doesn't exist? That's a new one, huh? You want to tell me what's really bothering you? Because this isn't about dinner." My tone was light, but direct, cutting through her deflection. Her head snapped around, and her eyes narrowed. "Don't twist things, Mike. You are never here. I'm not your personal chef, waiting for you to honor me with your presence." Her voice was loud now, almost shouting, with an air of condescension, as if she were scolding a dog. I stepped closer, keeping my voice steady, almost amused. "Never said you were. But don't text me about cold food when there is no food. That's just noise. I'm working, huh? Overtime pays for this sofa, that phone, your yoga classes that you never go to. If you're lonely, say so. Don't invent stories." My words were calm, but they hit like a punch, and I saw her flinch. She stood up, throwing the blanket aside, her voice rising. "You think you're some hero because you work late? I'm here, Mike, keeping this place standing while you're out there, doing God knows what. You can't act like I'm the villain." Her hands were on her hips. Her face flushed, but there was a crack in her armor. She was trying to grab control and failing. I grabbed a soda from the fridge, opened it, and took a sip, letting the sound of the fizz fill the silence. "Keeping it standing? The fridge is empty, the laundry is piled up, and you've been on that phone for hours. If you're running the show, where's the show? Or is all this just a performance for me?" My tone was cold, deliberate, as if I were presenting evidence in court. Her mouth opened, then closed, and she pointed a finger at me. "You are so full of yourself, Mike, acting like you're the only one keeping us afloat. I do a lot, and you don't value it." Her voice was shaking now, but it was more frustration than confidence. I tilted my head, letting a smile escape. "Value what, huh? Your TikTok marathons? Your disappearances? If you're doing so much, give me the list. I'll wait." I leaned against the counter, drinking my soda, watching her squirm. She froze, her fingers still in the air, then turned and stormed up the stairs like a hurricane, muttering, "We'll talk tomorrow." There it was again, tomorrow. Her usual excuse. I didn't follow. I ate a protein bar, switched to a basketball game, and went to sleep in the guest room. No yelling, no chasing, just a line drawn. If she wants to run away, she's running alone. The next morning, I was up at 6 a.m., making coffee and checking work emails. Emily came down in pajamas, her hair a mess, her face still carrying the irritation from last night. She didn't say good morning. Instead, she went straight to the point. "I'm going to Sarah's house tonight," she said, pouring orange juice into a glass. "I need a break from all this." She waved her hand vaguely, as if the house or I were some kind of burden. I stirred my coffee without looking up. "Cool, have fun. Are you sleeping there?" My tone was neutral, as if I were asking about the grocery list, but I knew she was fishing for a reaction. She hesitated, the glass halfway to her lips. "Maybe. I'll let you know tomorrow." Her voice had that calculated sharpness, as if she were waiting for me to beg for details, show jealousy, or insecurity. I didn't take the bait. "All right. Text me if you need me to pick you up." I grabbed my mug and headed for the door. My voice remained calm. "I'm late for work." She called out to me, her tone sharp. "That's it. You don't even care where I'm going, who I'm with." Her voice had a trace of desperation, as if she needed me to chase her. I stopped, turned, and looked directly into her eyes. "You're a grown woman, huh? You don't need my permission to go out with your friends. But don't expect me to play detective just because you're dropping hints. You want space? You got it. Just don't cry when it's empty." My words were calm, but there was a warning in them, a silent promise that I wasn't a puppet. Her jaw tightened, and she held the glass as if it were a lifeline. "You're an idiot," she said, her voice low but trembling. I didn't reply. I just left, got in my car, and went to work. If she wants to test me, she will fail. At work, I was in the middle of a meeting with my boss, Karen, and a client who was behind on a delivery schedule. The client, a guy named Tom from a mid-sized retailer, was trying to pin the blame for the delay on us, his voice loud and presumptuous. Your team failed, Mike. We're losing money here. I leaned back in my chair, swiping through shipment logs on my tablet. Tom, let's stick to the facts. You changed the delivery window 3 times last week, didn't confirm the final time, and the guy at your warehouse signed off on the release late. My team moved mountains to ship your stuff. If you're losing money, check your own house first. My voice was calm and professional, but there was a steely firmness in it, and I saw Karen nod slightly. Tom blinked, caught off guard, then muttered something about checking his records. Karen stepped into the conversation, her tone smooth. Mike is right, Tom. Let's resolve this and move on. The meeting ended with Tom swallowing his words, and Karen gave me a quick, good job, as we left the room. Back at my desk, I felt the contrast. At work, I had control, respect, and I called the shots. At home, Emily was trying to turn me into a punching bag. Not happening. That night, Emily didn't come home. She sent a text at midnight. Staying at Sarah's. Back tomorrow. No apology, no explanation, just another tomorrow. I didn't reply. I went to the gym, ran 7 miles until my lungs burned, and went to sleep in the guest room. No calls, no texts, no pleading. If she wants to play hide and seek, she's on her own. The next day, I arrived home from work and found Emily in the kitchen stirring a pot of pasta, her hair tied up, wearing a tight blouse and a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Hey, she said, her voice soft, almost flirting. I'm making dinner. Are you hungry? It was a performance, and I saw it from a mile away. I dropped my backpack on the floor, leaning against the counter. Cooking now? Thought you were on a break. My tone was light, but there was a bite to it. I exposed her act without falling for it. She turned, her smile straining. Can't I do something nice for my husband? The voice was sweet, but it was that kind of sweet that hides a hook, as if she were trying to reel me back in. I crossed my arms, my expression impassive. You can, but don't pretend last night didn't happen. You disappeared, didn't call, and now you're playing the perfect housewife. What is the goal? Trying to make me forget the last 3 weeks. My voice was calm, but I wasn't letting her escape. Her smile faltered and her voice turned cold. There's no goal, Mike. I went to Sarah's house. I needed a night out. Why are you making this a big deal? She turned back to the pot, stirring harder, as if she could grind her frustration into the sauce. I stepped closer, my voice low but sharp. It is a big deal when you disappear and expect me to clap like a trained seal when you come back. Want to be nice? Fine. But don't think a pot of pasta erases all the tomorrows. I'm not that hungry. I grabbed my gym bag and headed for the door, leaving her with her performance. She called out to me, her voice sharp. You are impossible, Mike. I'm trying here, and you just push me away. There was a trace of desperation, as if she were losing control. I turned. My voice was icy. Trying? Trying isn't disappearing and expecting me to wait. You want to try? Start with honesty. Until then, there's a treadmill calling my name. I left, letting the door close behind me. She wants to pull me back. She'll have to do better than that. The following week was a game of chess. Emily doubled down on her routine. Phone, silence, jabs disguised as jokes. You going to work late again? Guess I'll order food delivery tomorrow, right? She would say, her voice dripping with fake disappointment. I would reply with a shrug. Yeah, do whatever you want. Refusing to take the bait, I started doing my own laundry, cooking my own meals, and keeping my side of the house in order, not out of spite, but because I no longer depended on her for peace. One night we were at a barbecue in Sarah's backyard, a casual thing with her friends, some neighbors, and Emily's cousin, Rachel. The air smelled of grilled burgers and citronella candles, and people were laughing while drinking cold drinks. Emily was at the center of attention with Sarah and Lisa. Her voice was loud, her gestures exaggerated, as if she were performing for an audience. I was near the grill talking to Dave, Rachel's husband, about the latest Braves game when Emily's voice reached us. Mike has been so busy saving the world at work that he forgot how to have fun, right, honey? The tone was playful, but it was loud enough for everyone to hear. And there was a sting, as if she were trying to paint me as a boring husband. The group went quiet, eyes flickering in my direction. Sarah smiled sarcastically, sipping her lemonade. Lisa looked at her plate. Dave raised an eyebrow, waiting for my move. I turned with a small smile on my face and looked at Emily. Saving the world? No, huh? Just keeping the lights on. You know, for your phone, your nights out with the girls, that whole scheme. I waved my hand toward the house. My voice was calm but sharp, loud enough for everyone to hear. If you're bored, maybe plan something that doesn't involve complaining. I'm game. I took a sip of my drink, keeping my gaze on her, letting the words sink in. The group froze and Sarah's sarcastic smile disappeared. Emily's face flushed and she laughed, but it was forced. Wow, Mike, very good at making everything weird, she said, her voice tense, trying to disguise it. I didn't yield. Weird, huh? You threw the first stone. I'm just returning fire. If there's a real problem, say it. If not, let's eat. My tone was light and almost playful, but it was a knockout and everyone knew it. Dave gave a laugh and Rachel gave me a quick nod, as if respecting the move. Emily grabbed her drink and went into the house, muttering, "We'll talk tomorrow." The group moved on, but I could feel the shift. People saw me stand my ground, and Emily's jab had backfired. If she wants to play in public, she'll learn I am not her punching bag. The next day, I was at a restaurant with Jared after work, eating a burger and drinking soda. He was in the middle of a story about his kid's soccer game when he stopped, looking at me. "You're quieter than usual, Mike. Still fighting the good fight at home." His voice was casual, but there was concern, as if he knew I was carrying something heavy. I took a bite of the burger, chewing slowly, then left it on the plate. It's a chess game, man. She keeps moving the pieces, expecting me to follow. I'm tired of playing. My voice was steady, but I could feel the weight of everything pressing down. Jared leaned back, drinking his soda. I've been through that. At the beginning of my marriage, my wife did something like that, testing me, pushing buttons, seeing how far she could go. I let it go for too long, and it almost destroyed us. Finally, I told her, "If you want out, say it. But don't expect me to beg." That woke her up. "You need to draw a line, Mike, or she will keep pushing until you disappear." The tone was direct but supportive, like a coach who had seen this game before. I nodded, my mind processing. I'm drawing it. She just isn't ready for what happens when I draw it. No more waiting, no more tomorrows. The breaking point came on a Saturday. Emily was on the porch drinking a hot pink drink, wrapped in a blanket, scrolling on her phone. I had spent the morning cleaning the garage, not because she asked, but because I needed to keep my hands busy. I was tired of the dance, of her pulling away, me waiting, and her dangling tomorrow, like a carrot I was supposed to chase. I went out onto the porch, sat in the chair opposite her, and put my soda on the table. We need to talk now." My voice was calm, but there was no warmth in it, only steel. She didn't look up. "Not today, Mike. Tomorrow." The tone was dismissive, as if she were shooing away a fly, her eyes glued to the screen. I leaned forward. My voice was steady but hard. "No, huh? I'm done with tomorrow. Done with your tests, your jabs, your disappearances. If you're not in this, say it. I'm not going to live in limbo anymore." My words were cold, deliberate, as if I were presenting a contract. Her fingers froze on the phone, and she looked up, her eyes wide. "What are you saying, Mike? You want to break up?" The voice was soft, almost scared, but I could hear the calculation as if she were testing how far I would go. I didn't blink. "I'm saying I'm not your doormat. You've been stringing me along with tomorrow for weeks, keeping me on a leash while you decide if I'm worth your time. I'm done waiting. Are you here or not? Pick a side." My tone was cold and final, as if I were closing a deal. She laughed, but it was nervous, unstable. "You're exaggerating. I just need time. It's fine. We'll solve it tomorrow." There was that word again. I stood up. My voice was low and final. "There is no tomorrow, huh? You spent them all. I'm not your plan B, and I'm not your punching bag. Want to solve it? Solve it now, or I end it." I kept my eyes on her, watching the panic invade her face. Her face went pale, and for the first time, I saw real fear in her eyes. "Mike, come on. Don't do this. We can talk. It's fine. Just tomorrow." Her voice was pleading now, but it was too late. I shook my head, a small smile appearing on my lips. "You've already had enough tomorrows. I'm not waiting for another one that never comes." I turned, went into the house, and grabbed the folder I had prepared from the desk drawer. Divorce papers filled out during my lunch break the day before. I had met with a lawyer, not out of anger, but because I was tired of being an option. I put the folder on the counter and looked at her. "You have 2 weeks to sign. I'm not going to fight you for this. I'm just done." My voice was calm, almost gentle, but it carried the weight of a decision made. She looked at the folder, her mouth open, then looked at me. Are you serious? You're just done. Her voice cracked, but I didn't waver. Yes, I said, my tone cold and final. You want it tomorrow? Here it is. 2 days later, she sent me a text. Can we talk? I didn't mean for this to happen. Can we solve it tomorrow? I read it, then typed back. Tomorrow ended in divorce. Sign the papers. I hit send and turned off my phone. 10 months later, I'm in a new apartment downtown. It's smaller, but it's mine. No echoes of her voice. No half-promises clogging the air. I have my routine. Coffee in the morning, work, gym, maybe a soda with Jared on Fridays. Life is quieter, sharper, like a well-honed blade. Last week I bumped into Emily at a coffee shop. She was alone, her hair dull, her eyes tired. She saw me, hesitated, then walked over to me. Mike, she said, her voice soft, almost broken. I messed everything up. I didn't realize what I had. Can we talk? I looked at her, calm and firm. We talked in silence for months. You didn't listen. My voice was even, no anger, just truth. Her eyes filled with tears, but I didn't flinch. I'm sorry, she whispered. I thought we had more time. Tomorrow, I interrupted her. My voice was cold and final. There is no tomorrow, huh? You used them all up. I'm living today. I paid for my coffee, nodded politely, and left. The street was alive with noise, the air fresh, and for the first time in years, I felt free. Comment. Sometimes, we make the mistake of thinking there will always be another chance to make things right. But the truth is, the only moment we truly own is right now. Establishing healthy boundaries is not about being cold or unkind. It is about respecting your own worth. Real partnership requires effort today, not empty promises for the future. Walking away from a situation that drains you is one of the bravest things you can do for your peace of mind. When someone communicates through silence, it is often the loudest cry for change. Taking responsibility for your own happiness means you stop waiting for others to treat you better. Healing begins the moment you decide that you deserve to be a priority, not just an option. Do not let the fear of being alone keep you in a place where you do not feel valued. Choose to live fully today, because your peace is too valuable to be postponed until tomorrow. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.